Things are not looking good for bookings on the Galactic Starcruiser. Meanwhile, things are also going pretty slow for Genie Plus, and maybe at the gates too. They've got a new discount for you in January. Reservation bookings have slowed down too. What is going on at Disney? We're going to talk about all that next on Fresh Baked. Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to Fresh Baked. Sorry about all that bad news in the intro, but this is a news channel. That's the news we've got to report. It's kind of a scary time for the Disney company right now because not a lot is going their way, and it goes beyond just what's happening in the parks. But that's where we're going to keep our interest today, and we're going to start with kind of a nervous time right now for the Star Wars-themed Galactic Starcruiser, the Star Wars Hotel. There was a time, as I understand things, that the hotel was completely booked. At least the first couple of months were completely booked. Then they published the now infamous promotional video that was unflattering, I guess, to say the least. It did not present Disney's newest showcase experience at its best. And then social media dragged it for days, and after about a week or two, the effects of the backlash were beginning to show on their reservation calendar. Here's the calendar on December 12th. That's 4 days ago. There was one booking left in March, one in April, and 5 in May. The next day, there were 4 bookings left in March. April was gone, most likely because it was sold out at the time. And then 6 openings in May. The day after that, 4 again in March. April is back now, and there are 4 bookings available, and now 5 in May. And then our most recent calendar, as of this recording on December 15th, there are 8 bookings available in March, then 5 again in April, and 3 in May. So for March, bookings went from 1 left to 4 left to 8 left. Those are cancellations. Now, we don't know actually how many cancellations in total there have been. There's 100 rooms total, not just the ones that we're seeing on the calendar. So there could have been multiple cancellations for those dates. We just know it's at least 7 in the month of March. And then you've got April. April went from 0 on the calendar, at least that I'm assuming that's the case if the calendar was empty or gone. Now there's 5. 5 more cancellations. By the way, unlike reservations for the park, we know how many reservations are possible, how many are available, because we know how many rooms there are. We know that there are 100 rooms. In other words, this isn't a case where Disney has replenished or added more possible reservations like they do in the parks, because they can't. There aren't anymore. They can't build more rooms. So this is definitely reservations for those 100 rooms are coming and going. They're being filled and then canceled, which makes for a very nervous time for Disney as we approach the March 1st opening of the Galactic Starcruiser. Perhaps they have time to right the ship. 3.5 months is at least time enough for people to forget that video. A video, by the way, that they took down. Disney took down that promotional video, presumably because it was resulting in cancellations. Not more bookings, obviously. Perhaps it's time enough to make a better video that presents their investment in a much more positive light. I'm hoping they can, because I was among those. I count myself among those who thought that this was a really great idea. I thought this was brilliant. But then again, it was happening at the same time as Galaxy's Edge was being put together. The news of this broke, and the whole LARPing concept. I thought that was a really fascinating thing that I could really get into. LARPing hasn't really taken off at Galaxy's Edge. It's not really a thing at all. Now we've got this hotel. I hope they can figure it out, because I do want to myself go on a Star Wars-themed vacation. I really do. More so than what you can get on a proper cruise anyway. But it has to be great. And then there's Genie Plus, which recently premiered here at Disneyland last week. Opening day was a well-documented disaster, but Genie did recover, and it has been working as it should since then. The software, that is. Not sure if Genie is performing the way that Disney as a company wants it to perform, at least with respect to the bottom line, revenue. Where Lightning Lane passes have been selling out at Walt Disney World, both the individual ones, the ones that you pay extra for, and those included with the $20 Genie purchase. Big Thunder, Haunted Mansion, Jungle Cruise, Peter Pan, Mine Train, even Winnie the Pooh. These are all today. This happened today at Walt Disney World. We haven't seen anything like that here at Disneyland. The closest thing we got, we had one day where one one pass, the Rise of the Resistance Lightning Lane pass for $20 did sell out last Saturday. But none of the Genie Plus Lightning Lanes have sold out, quote unquote, for lack of a better phrase. Meanwhile, as I write this, you can get a Rise of the Resistance Lightning Lane for right now. Not only is it not sold out, you can go right now. Compare that again to what's happening at Walt Disney World, where just regular old Winnie the Pooh is selling out. So obviously this is not a permanent situation. Things can and probably will change here at Disneyland. But one thing that we can observe is that guests at Disneyland are not yet responding to Genie Plus the same way that guests responded at Walt Disney World within the same time frame. I mean, like within the first week. In the first week, Walt Disney World they were doing okay with Genie Plus, as far as I can tell. There was nothing like this. Like you, I have my suspicions on why this might be the case, but that's a conversation for another video. Next up is a new discounted ticket to Disneyland for Southern California residents. Starting January 3rd, Disney is selling 3-day tickets for as low as $67 per day. That would be for the 3-day, one park per day ticket. A park hopper would sell for $259 or $86 per day. The only caveat is that these are for weekdays only. No weekends are available on this ticket. These tickets are good until May 26th, and they can be separate visits, meaning you don't have to use them on 3 consecutive days. So that's almost a 5-month stretch, by the way, which is a pretty good deal. For some, this might even be better than a Magic Key, because there's no blackout dates. Well, except for the weekends. Use them for any day you wish, as long as they're not already booked out. And certainly, I would expect the days to be more available than for a Magic Key. Right now, it's wide open, as are actually regular price single and multi-day tickets. But I'm not sure we can say the same for the Enchant or Imagine Keys come January. By the way, before we get on to the next topic, note also that they use this as an opportunity to try to bundle a park ticket with Genie Plus. And I'm wondering if maybe that's part of the goal with this offer, because it is interesting, because that's not a thing that they normally do. I don't remember that. Well, maybe they did for Max Pass, but I don't remember that for myself. Note though, even though they are bundling it, there is a bundle for Genie Plus. It is not discounted. It is the same $20. You add that on, it's the same. It's a $60 difference, which is $20 for each of the 3 days, or $60. So the cynic in me, which there is a part of me that is cynical, the cynic in me is saying that this is just a tool for them, or a means for them to try to sell Genie Plus before you get to the park. And that's a critical thing. When you think about it, because that's the goal. They try to do that with parking passes and things like that. They want to sell it to you before you use it, before you get to the park, and then hope you don't, I guess, and then hope you don't do it. And while we're talking about calendars, I want to talk next about the Magic Key calendar. Some interesting developments are happening there. Like the Star Wars Hotel, like Genie Plus, things appear to be slowing down a little bit for reservations with Magic Keys. The lack of reservations for Dream and Believe Keys has been a major story during the holiday season. Here's a calendar from November 1st. Most of November was gone, all of December, plus weekends in January. That was a very common sight for the last, 45 days or so, I would think, at least that. It was very often the case where an entire month was gone and then half of another one. But here's a calendar as of December 15th that shows things being, a little more optimistic. You don't see an entire month gone. There are even weekends available in December and January. It suggests to me that demand has gone down, which, it would be logical for the demand to go down after the holidays, but that's actually a logical assumption for single-day tickets, not necessarily for Magic Keys. Magic Keys, your ticket is already purchased and paid for, so there's no, demand schedule, or I should say it's not as prominent or obvious. There is going to be a less demand, but there still should be plenty of annual pass holders, Magic Key holders, trying to get into the parks in January. Not as high as it would be for the holidays, but still, this calendar, I feel like, should look a little more occupied. Of course, it's also possible that Disney has dropped more dates, more reservations, maybe even increased capacity. But as we've seen them do that in the last month or so, a month or two, those dates, when those new dates get populated, they get scooped up pretty quickly. We're still, look at the calendar again. The week before Christmas is still open, for example. Has been for days now. So it's at least very curious. But again, it does contribute to this narrative. The demand for Disneyland is not as strong as it could be or should be in the middle of December right now. Galactic Starcruiser. Outlook looks grim. Genie Plus. Too early to say, but it certainly isn't comparing well to its performance at Walt Disney World. Getting into Disneyland. It's getting a little easier and a little cheaper come January. I know it sounds weird to say, but I'm hoping all of this turns around for the Disney company very soon. And by that, I mean, I want more people in the parks. I want them to sell Genie Plus. I really do. I want them to sell more tickets. I want the parks to be busier. I much prefer a busier park than a slow park, in the same way that I prefer Disney to be successful than unsuccessful. I want Disney to do well because when Disney does well, then we as guests usually get taken care of a little bit better. At least that's been the historical perspective. But as I often say, for that to happen, you got to give action to get action. Success and profit follows a great product and great service. That's Disney's job right now. With that, follow us on Instagram at _FreshBaked and on Twitter at FreshBakedDisney, that's fresh with no E, and on TikTok at FreshBakedDisney. And if you like our show and want to show you support, please do consider joining our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/freshbaked. Otherwise, we love you guys very much. Be safe out there. Be kind to one another. And fresh baked.